because Australia is mostly desert, I'm going to talk you through what a desert is. It's a place that gets less than 25 centimetres of rainfall in a year. They cover a fifth of the world's land surface and are of a land type called drylands. These areas often lose more moisture through evaporation than they get in rainfall. So you can see a world map here with all the famous deserts. It doesn't have all of the deserts though. So we've got the Great Victorian Desert here in Australia that we're interested, and we've got the Sahara Desert here. Now, what you would notice, the equator line is roughly around here. So you've got your tropical areas either side, and then you've got your deserts either side that. Now, interestingly, there's quite a lot of deserts over here on the west coast of North America. So maybe the Mojave Desert that you've heard, where the Grand Canyon is. We tend to think that all deserts are hot, but they're not. The Sahara regularly has temperatures of 50 degrees centigrade during the day. It's never been that hot in the UK. You find that in places like Dubai, or in North Africa and Sahara. The highest recorded temperature is in Death Valley, which is just between Las Vegas and California, which was 56.7 degrees centigrade. Unbelievable. However, some are actually very cold. Winter temperatures in the Gobi Desert can reach minus 40 degrees C. The world's largest deserts are actually, in fact, the Arctic and the Antarctic. And this is because in the polar regions, there's little rainfall, and that is the definition of a desert. So, plants that live in the desert, despite the harsh conditions, many plants live in the desert. Cacti, the plural of cactus, are suited to desert life. When there is moisture in the air, a cactus swells to store the water. A cactus has spikes instead of leaves in order to conserve the water. The spikes also ward off animals that might try to eat it, so it completely protects itself from the harsh conditions. So we have lots of animals as well that live in the desert. One of which is our camel. Now, interesting fact about Australia, camels are in central Australia in the desert, but they're not supposed to be. They are not a native animal. They were brought there. So they do live there though. Camel's hump stores fat that can be converted into energy when food is scarce. Very, very clever. To protect themselves from sandstorms, they have long eyelashes and their noses can close to keep sand out. It's incredible how these animals adapt to these harsh places. Their feet even are wide enough to avoid slipping through the sand. The soles of their feet are thick so that they don't get burned on the hot sand. Absolutely incredible animals. So, you're going to do a little task for me about the adaptions of camels. They've got long eyelashes to protect their eyes from the sand, their fur to protect from sunburn, their hump to store fat, their flat padded feet to protect from heat and stop them slipping in the sand, their leathery mouth to eat prickly desert plants like the cacti, and nostrils that close to protect from sand. Okay, so you've learnt a little bit there about our lovely camels, although they can spit. Don't know if anyone's done a camel ride before. So here is your task. Sorry, I'll make that pink. And you've got your camels here. So advantages of travelling through the desert on a camel. Yeah, and then the disadvantages of travelling through the desert on a camel. Then the advantages of travelling in a Land Rover. So, I'm sure you can think of those. And then the disadvantages. So this is really where I'm looking for you to excel. Then to finish off, what would you choose and why would you choose the camel or the Land Rover to cross the Great Victorian Desert in Australia?